Just a couple like quick announcements, reminders. This info session is being recorded. So in case y'all have to leave a little early or just in case anything is missed, we can share that info session with y'all later or this recording with you later. If you do have any questions, there should be a Q&A portion that is available. Please feel free to drop any questions there. And then there's also a chat function just for any general comments. Yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you all for being here. This is our UCLA Labor Summer 2024 Fellow Info Session. And before we get started, I do want to give a chance for the team to get introduced. So my name is Marisabel, my pronouns are she, they, and I am the Labor Summer Coordinator. We also have Jenny, who's our part of a team who's not here today, but does support us a lot when it comes around to Labor Summer. And you all, if you're interested in applying and you are accepted, you'll likely see her around. But I will give Drew and Jasmine a chance to introduce themselves.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Drew, he, him as pronouns, and I'm the UCLA Dream User Center Director, and I'm honored to be here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Rivera. I use she, her pronouns. I am a community education specialist and was one of the program coordinators for Dream Summer 2023. And I'm happy to be here with you all.
Thank you all. Just to give a brief overview and what to expect with this meeting. So if you haven't heard of the Dream Resource Center, or just as a refresher, I'll just briefly introduce what the Dream Resource Center is. We'll talk about what is Labor Summer. I'll briefly share a couple of our past UCLA host organizations. We'll review the program calendar with some important dates during the summer and some dates to keep in mind. We'll also talk about the requirements for Labor Summer, some expectations, who we are looking for in fellows, like what we look for with our fellows. We'll briefly discuss the application and just provide a little bit of more insight. And then we'll end it with some Q&A in case folks have any questions or anything that we can further clarify or elaborate on. So what is the DRC? The DRC is a program team under the UCLA Labor Center, really focused on training the next generation of leaders, specifically immigrant youth and allies with lived experiences, to really lead in social justice movements that include equity for workers, for families, and just communities in general. And the DRC was founded in 2010 to support immigrant youth and allies after the US Senate failed to pass the Federal Dream Act. And so with that in mind, really the purpose and the intention of the DRC and our programming is to empower youth and in this case students to create impactful social policy and narrative change with leadership development and research. And really we do that through our fellowship programs, Labor Summer being one of them. And with that in mind, so what is Labor Summer? Labor Summer was founded in 2022, and really it's an annual program that brings together young leaders interested in worker justice and labor rights with organizations that also have the same mission and whose work focuses on supporting labor rights and just advancing worker justice. And so for this program, student participants are matched with a host organization for an 8-week full-time fellowship, really to complete programs that strengthen the intersection between the org's social justice mission and labor issues. And so really what we've seen with past placements for our fellows is that it can depend on, like, you can be doing canvassing with workers that are trying to incorporate themselves into the union, or just if they're having any workplace issues. It's really just providing that one-on-one support, or even doing research. That's something that we've seen, and we've gotten some insight onto some of our placements for this year, that is some of the work that students and fellows are going to be expected to do. So this fellowship is open to all UCLA students, regardless of immigration status. And fellows are awarded a $7,000 stipend at the end of the program. They're also, with this program, you also get leadership and professional development training, a certificate of completion, and access to UC statewide labor summer network. As you can see on the right, that is the logo from last year's labor summer. And so 9 UC campuses have a labor summer fellowship program, and something that is unique about this is that now everybody has one. And we do partner with some, and I will talk a little bit more about the partnerships that we do with the other campuses in a bit. But just something cool to note is that is something that has changed over the years, that now each campus does have their own labor summer and provides a paid fellowship to students interested in joining the program. So some of our past labor summer partners, I just wanted to kind of provide this as like insight. And I think it's cool to know like some of your potential placement sites if you are interested in applying, and some of the work that they do. So we have the LA Fed, which is just a group of 300 affiliated union and labor orgs throughout LA. AFT 1521 was another one of our past partners, and they represent community college faculty or faculty in the LA Community College district. We have Building Skills Partnership, which really focuses on workforce development and community advancement through like career programming, and really providing these programs for community members. We have UFCW 770, which has 31,000 members in the healthcare, retail health, grocery, packing, and cannabis industry. We have HTA, which is Hospitality Training Academy, and similar to BSP, a lot of their work is very much workforce development and training for workforce development and training, and they're a partner of Unite Here 11, which is another union in LA. We have Apollo LA, which really works. Their mission is really to empower AAPI workers and union members and advance worker, immigrant, and civil rights. And we have had some of our fellows also at our labor center. So I mentioned that we are a project team of the labor center, but we have different projects and different programs within the labor center. So in the past, we have had a fellow placed within the labor center working in these variety of programs. And so if what I've shared so far is something that's exciting and something that you are interested in potentially applying to, I just wanted to share this calendar of some important dates to note for the program, and also a deadline coming up. And so the first deadline coming up is February 23rd, and that's just a deadline to submit your application. So February 23rd at 5 p.m. Is our deadline for our fellowship application. And then after that, you can expect to hear back from us in late March or early April about whether you were selected for the fellowship. If you are selected and you do move forward with the with the fellowship, something else to keep in mind, and something that we do expect you all to be present at, is the opening retreat that will be hosted in LA from June 20th to June 22nd. And I shared earlier that we do partner with some of our different UC campuses for some of these events. So for our opening retreat in specific, there we will be partnering with UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara, UC Riverside, and UC Irvine. So you'll really start to see what we mean with the UC wide labor network by attending this event and having some of our UC partners there. And then June 24th would be the first day that we expect you to be at your placement with your host organization. So it'll be your first day maybe meeting the team or even starting to already work on your projects. And you will be at your host organization from June 24th through August 14th. And then similar to the opening retreat, we'll have a closing retreat on Thursday, August 15th through Friday, August 16th. And this will be another partnership with our 4 partners that I mentioned earlier. And it'll be it'll be a celebration and culmination of all the hard work that you've done over the summer, and also a time to connect again once more with the different folks at different UCs. So what are some requirements for Labor Summer and to be able to qualify for this program? So you have to be at least 18 years old by June 15, 2024, which is around the beginning time of our fellowship program. You have to be a current UCLA student, either undergrad or grad student, or you could also be a recent class of you could be a recent grad in the classes of 2022 or 2023. So if you're here either as like a student, and maybe you know somebody who recently graduated and you feel like would be a great fit for this program, we definitely encourage you all to suggest them to apply. Unfortunately, if you're not a UCLA student, we cannot accommodate you at the time, but I do know that some of our other UC partners sometimes do accept non-UC students. So I definitely encourage you all to connect with them if you're not able to, if you are not a UCLA student and aren't don't qualify for our program. You have to be available to work full-time from Monday, June 24th to Wednesday, August 14th. So it is a 40-hour per week commitment. And we do expect you all to be present throughout that time. You have to be committed to labor rights and social justice. Really just we don't expect folks to be experienced leaders, but we do expect you to have some commitment to it and have and care about the issues. You have to be registered with an active ETEEN or SSN by the time an offer letter is presented to applicants. And this is really to make sure that we can provide you your stipend by the end of the program. So some program expectations for prospective fellows and also from us as a team and also from the host organizations. So for the prospective fellows, as I mentioned earlier, we do expect you to be available 40 hours per week on the in the June through August timeline that I shared. As for the placements, some of them might be in person, some of them might be hybrid or even remote. Regardless of what your placement is, we do expect you to be present in whatever capacity your organization expects you to be. And then we do expect you to be present at opening retreat and closing retreat. As I shared earlier, these are non-negotiable dates because it's really a time to learn more about Labor Summer, but also build community with the different UCs. And so these dates are non-negotiable, and these are dates that we do expect you to be at. However, some things you can also expect from us to secure you a placement with your host organization, because we are expecting you all to be at opening and closing retreat. We will cover the cost for lodging because it is overnight, and so that is something that you won't have to worry about, and we'll go ahead and pay that. From your fellowship placement, you can expect weekly check-ins with your supervisor, and really just open communication, and that's something that we are going to be very adamant about with our fellowship placements, that we do expect them to consistently check in with y'all, and also just communicate any expectations clearly with y'all, so y'all are aware of what is expected in the placements. One other thing is that you can expect feedback surveys from us. I think one really important thing, and because we are such a new program, we do welcome any feedback on how to make this a better experience while you're in the program. Maybe some things that you feel that could change throughout, but also even afterwards, even something that that you think maybe can change for the next year. And lastly, you can expect the fellowship stipend, like I shared, that will be provided by the end of the program, and that'll be the $7,000 stipend. And then who are we looking for? So as I shared earlier, we obviously understand that folks are in various different routes of their social justice. If y'all are like, you know, kind of learning more about labor, wanting to be more involved, or maybe you already have some leadership experience. Regardless of that, we just want we encourage folks to apply who are interested in or impacted by labor issues. So whether this means like maybe somebody in your family who experienced some issues in their workplace that maybe made you feel passionate about this, maybe like your community, somebody in your community, or even yourself. We also are looking for folks who are open to engage in conversations about identity, race, class, privilege, and any other issues impacting working class communities. Even though we are going to have placements at unions and like labor orgs, we do expect to have conversations and with that, have our fellows be comfortable having these conversations. We are looking for folks who have strong leadership experience and skills, or are willing to grow in that aspect. So like I shared earlier, maybe you are interested in labor, but haven't had as much experience, but you want to learn. That is something that's really important. We expect, we are looking for somebody with honest and consistent communication. And what that means is if things come up while you're in your placement, maybe you're having issues with your placement, maybe you're just, you know, maybe the transition hasn't been easy, whatever it may be, we do want you all to feel comfortable communicating that with us, for us to be able to provide help or any support, but we also will be doing the same. So having that two-way communication is very important. We're looking for somebody who is a problem solver and problem solving and a self-starter. And what we mean by that is because a lot of these placements might be super independent. You may be given a project. We do expect you to be able to take on these initiatives and just be able to problem solve as you're working through it. And lastly, we are looking for fellows who are willing to build relationships with the leadership team and community that you're serving at your placement. So whether it be you're connecting with workers who are facing issues in the workplace, and maybe you're interviewing them. We really value the relationship building and the building of community with really the people being served, but also just the placements that folks are at. And so just a little to, if this, like I said earlier, this is all something that seems interesting to you and you're interested in applying, I did want to provide some time to just briefly go over the application and what to expect. So there is 5 sections to the application. On the first one, it's very much asked for like your contact information and the very important question about whether you are a UCLA student, because like I said earlier, that is a requirement to be able to apply for the UCLA Labor Summer. It'll then ask the question of Social Security, if you have a Social Security number, or the E-teen, which are necessary for you to receive your payment at the end of the program. And then it'll also ask like if you if you're bilingual, if you know any other language. And that's really just to help us as we're selecting and matching folks to their placement. If any organization requested maybe like a bilingual fellow, that'll really help us in that process. Section 2 is so educational information. So it'll ask you whether you're a student, a recent grad, And then like like your majors that you graduated with. And again, that's just to make sure that you are a recent alum or a current UCLA student, since that is a requirement. Section 3 will ask you about fellowship placement and host site. So it'll ask you about your connection to the area that you're applying to. In this case, it's LA, but like your connection to the community. And also any experience in organizing work or social justice work. They'll have some questions to rank how comfortable you are working with like policy, with canvassing, with social media, whatever it may be. It'll have you rank so you can also share what you're comfortable working with. Section 4 will it's more identity-based questions, and just as it says on the application, this is all anonymous and it's mostly for statistical purposes, but we do ask that you share as much as you're comfortable with. Section 5, this is really the big, the more time-consuming portion of the application, because this is where you'll submit your response through to the 3 essays that we have. And we do ask that for the 3 essays, you only submit 1 PDF. So you submit all essays on 1 PDF. And apart from that, you have to submit a resume. For your resume, you can really add any leadership experience that you have, whether it be in an organization, any job that you've had. No experience is too small, and it's really to see what experience you have had previously. And then lastly, it asks for 2 references, and this can be anybody from like a professor that you maybe like just have gotten really well with and have built a relationship with. It can be like a past supervisor or current supervisor, or if you're in any organizations, it can also be like a leader of an organization that can just speak to your passion for labor or your interest in labor. And then it'll have you sign some fellow agreements, some things that you agree to if selected as a fellow. And just some things going back to the essay responses, we do ask that y'all be detailed, and I think don't sell yourself short with your experiences. I know sometimes it is easy to just think that our experiences are invaluable, but really this is the time, or that is the moment to share your lived experiences, why you're passionate about labor, why you're dedicated to supporting with like labor justice. So very much feel free to be as detailed as you want on those responses. And that will be the gist of the application. So yeah, just the last part will be the most time consuming, but there will be some other sections where we do ask for some other information. And that takes us to the end. Really very much thank you for joining. As a reminder, our applications are open until February 23rd at 5 p.m. And I have added my email there in case you have any questions about the application process, or maybe just any general questions about the program. I'm gonna give Ju and Jazz, anything maybe that I missed, anything that y'all want to add?
I think you covered everything pretty well. Thank you so much, Maddie. We had a few questions in the chat that I'd like us to address. Can you explain the difference between Dream Summer and Labor Summer? There was a question on, according to the website, Dream Summer takes non-UCLA students. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'll start with the first question. Labor Summer is a program really much centering worker justice, labor rights, and so any students who are interested in that can apply to this program. Dream Summer is open to all regardless of whether you're a UCLA student or not, and it's more focused on immigrant rights, and so you get placed it's nationwide, so you get, even if you're not in California or at UCLA, you can still apply, and you will be if accepted, you will be found a placement based in where you are. So that was the first question.
Thank you so much, Mari. Can you also, real quick, there was a question, this program accepts non-UCLA students, like students from community colleges, question mark. Unfortunately, this program is specific to UCLA. If I recommend folks that are non-UCLA students to check out this statewide UC Labor Summer website that I will drop and a link in the chat right now to review the other UC campuses fellowship programs. Some might be open to other non-UC affiliated students.
I saw somebody ask a question saying, I attend UCI, do I qualify for this fellowship? So you do qualify for Labor Summer at UC Irvine. So I know that their application is currently open. And I know that with that link that Jasmine just dropped, it should have access to all their applications and you should be able to see the one for UCI. I think that was all of our questions. Does anybody else have any other questions? Drew, anything else you would like to add?
No, I think you covered it all. Thank you.
Okay, I think if nobody else has any other questions, just thank you for joining us today. I hope that this provided some clarifications and maybe just answered some questions that you had. Like I shared my email, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or just want further clarification for anything. But not, thank you all for joining and we hope to see your application.